Alacrity is a high-performance web browser for use in Unity on Windows. Its primary use is intended to allow you to build high-performance UIs using web technologies. You can also use it to load just about any website. Alacrity is unique because it uses a custom build of the Chromium Embedded Framework that allows us to run with hardware acceleration at very high frame rates like 144 FPS, 240 FPS, 360 FPS, or even higher. Let's dive into the demo project to see how it works. First, let's see what happens when we hit play. All of this text, UI, buttons, etc. is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. This is a web page that's being overlaid on top of our Unity game. When we click on New Game, we actually interact with our Unity scene from JavaScript to start the demo game, where we can shoot bullets and move around with WASD. If we click on buttons in the UI, we can choose to ignore those events in Unity. So we can see our character does not shoot a bullet when we click spawn target. And when we type, our character does not move. We can also see as we hit targets, the score updates in JavaScript. So let's take a quick look at the project itself. In this project, we've got a canvas with a single element, which is our Alacrity browser. On the browser component, you can change the URL that loads by default, the initial frame rate, the buffer size that we use to communicate between the browser and the JavaScript, and the remote debugging port that you can use for debugging your JavaScript using the Chrome dev tools. In the demo, we've also added a component on top to load a specific file instead of a web page, so we don't actually load google.com. We instead resolve this path to a file and load that file, since we've just compiled all of our UI into a single index.html file that we can load. All right, let's take a look at the game logic in C# in Unity. First, we'll look at the movement script to see how we're choosing to ignore inputs while the browser has focus. So there's a really simple API we can call to see if the UI has focus, and if it does, we can choose to just early return and not handle inputs as we normally would. If we look at our bullet spawner, we can see we do something quite similar. If the Alacrity browser has any UI hovered, then we choose to ignore the clicks. We also have a target spawner, which has an event listener added to JavaScript, where if we receive this spawn event, then we choose to spawn one of our targets. And so that is when we clicked the spawn button earlier, we could see it spawning targets. Finally, we'll look at the game controller, where we see we also have an event listener, and that controls starting and stopping the game. And we're also sending data to update the score whenever it gets updated within the game. If we take a look at our JavaScript side, here we're using React, but anything would work. And we're simply adding an event listener to the window for Unity data. That's how we update the score whenever Unity sends us an updated score. And whenever we exit, we send to Unity to stop the game. And whenever we start, we send to Unity to start the game. So it's really straightforward how you send data back and forth between JavaScript and Unity. To demonstrate the high performance of Alacrity, we'll take a look at the WebGL sample aquarium. So we'll remove this load file component. We'll change the URL to the sample that we'd like to load. When we load this with a target frame rate of 144, we can see the FPS on the web demo is running at 144 FPS. Even if we change the number of fish, that is our target. We can also update the target frame rate to something else, let's say 360, play again, and we'll see the demo does indeed match that target of 360 once again, even if we change the number of fish. Finally, we'll take a look at the HTML5 test website, which essentially just takes a look at how many features your browser supports within HTML5. Now we can see we're scoring 521 out of 555, which is a pretty good score, and we have quite a good coverage of features. So you can use just about all of the latest features of the web. Thanks for watching this overview of Alacrity. If you'd like to learn more, please check the description for links to documentation and information on how to purchase the asset. If you've already purchased the asset and you need support, or if you have any questions, please join our Discord. Thanks again for watching.